For today's Freedom Model Quick Lesson, we're going to talk about Chapter 19, which is the license to misbehave. This is probably my favorite chapter in the entire book. This is one of Stephen's chapters. He did a fantastic job on it. And the reason I like this chapter so much is because it was the reason that I drank heavily, the reason I started drinking heavily. You see, believe it or not, I was a shy kid, and once you got to know me, I definitely wasn't shy, but in social situations where I was around a group of people I didn't know, I tended to be very quiet and reserved, and I was terrified inside. I was always very fearful. I had a lot of anxiety, social anxiety, and I felt like once I discovered alcohol and marijuana, I felt like they made it so I could be whoever I wanted to be. I felt like they helped me to speak my mind, be more assertive. I felt like it helped me to be more socially fun and funny and flirtatious. I mean, I think I even thought it made me more attractive. And you know, intellectually, you know that that's not possible, but it feels that way. Maybe I just felt like it made my personality more attractive. But here's the thing about this idea that alcohol and drugs have the power to lower our inhibitions and give us this license to misbehave, you know, make us somebody that we're not. It's a belief. It's not reality. And if you look at your history of substance use and heavy substance use, you will see, if you're being honest with yourself, there was a time when my substance of choice made me happy, funny, a life of the party. And then there was a time when it made me morose and sad and melancholy. And then there was a time where I was angry and telling somebody off, mean, nasty. How can the same, it maybe, okay, maybe it did that for you, all three on the same night. Right? How can a substance do all those things? It clearly can't. And in our chapter 19 in our book, The Freedom Model for Addictions, Escape the Treatment and Recovery Trap, we also bring in, you know, the history of civilizations and sociology to it, where you have these people on an island, and then there's two different factions. And each faction reacts to alcohol differently. In one civilization, they don't fight. They're not violent at all. It's they become very loving people. And in the other one, exact same alcohol, exact same genetic type makeup of these tribes. They become violent and they fight. Alcohol can't do both things. This is a result of our expectations, of our belief systems, and really what we want to get from it. But it's a tough nut to crack, so to speak. It's a tough belief to challenge. And so the way that I ask people to challenge it is look at the things that you're using alcohol for. And if you are somebody that uses it to speak your mind because you're not normally assertive, well, maybe the key to figuring out if you can be happier without alcohol is to figure out how to be more assertive without it. I had to do that. I didn't have to do that to stop drinking. I did that long after I stopped drinking. I learned that in many cases, because I was worried about being assertive, I always worried about hurting people's feelings. And so I a lot of times would tell people what they wanted to hear. And then when you have kids, sometimes you realize it's a bit more compassionate, to be honest, in many cases, than it is to just tell people what they want to hear. So I learned through trial and error how to be more assertive without having to be drunk or high. You can too. You don't need alcohol for these things or other drugs for these things. And so if you're reading the Freedom Model, you're watching our videos, run little experiments with yourself, test yourself. First, figure out what you think you're using alcohol and drugs for, what you like about it, what you're trying to get it to do for you. And then figure out how to get those things without it. And you'll be amazed. Because it turns out to be a lot easier than you think it is. And you really begin to see the fallacy of lowered inhibitions and the license to misbehave. If you don't have our book yet and you want it, go to thefreedommodel.org/products. Type in coupon code FREEDOM100 at checkout. You can get either book, The Freedom Model for Addictions or The Freedom Model for the Family. Thank you.